Hey everybody, it's me Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity, sending me some love telepathically, set attention to your mind, and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. So today I'm gonna go over the plant-based diet. I'm gonna get into saatvic diet, um, and what the benefits of a saatvic diet is. Right. So let's get into this. Um, so saatvic diet is pretty much a diet that you can take up, that pretty much consists of vegetables, fruits, high alkaline foods with the restriction of no meats, no eggs, uh, I think no dairy as well or something like this. So sattvic diet is pretty much just cleaning out the consumption of food, right? You don't want things which is going to tarnish the body's ability to be able to revitalize the body, right? By this I mean when you're eating meat or egg or anything of within this type of category, the body, it uses an excessive amount of energy to be able to reconvert or revitalize that food. So since for example, since beef is dead, it's a dead product. When you consume it, your body has to use more energy to be able to bring it into the amount of life energy that you're carrying. So if you take something that is alive, like a carrot or anything that was just picked from the ground, and you eat it, you can derive much more life energy from that which is alive. If you get something that's dead and you consume it, then your body has to bring it back to life, since you're a living being. And that process of bringing that back to life is using more energy than you are deriving in the end of the consumption of that product, right? So this is why you want to stick to any type of food that is living, that is alive. It's teething with life, right? Or it's surging with life. You can also just look at your fruit. You can also look at your produce or whatever you're getting, and if you can see the aura of it, if it has a brilliant aura to it, you know it's going to give you a brilliant aura. It's going to build your aura, right? When you look at meats, it's very hard to get that same brilliance to it, right? Whenever you're looking at the auric field. So the body, it uses much more energy to be able to bring the meat back to life, right? Because you want to be in life. You don't want to be in a state of death, because then you grow lethargic and you go into a stiffness, right? Staleness, and this messes with your ability to be receptive to anything in life. Not only that, but it actually makes you insensitive to life due to the fact that the product is dead. Anything that's dead is insensitive. So you want things that are living. You want things that are going to help you, right? To be in a high level of life. The only reason you eat in the first place is to derive energy, because you need energy. You need it's fuel, right? Food is fuel. This is what you're using it for. You don't just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and then just die out, right? You use food for fuel. This is what everybody does. This is what all animals do. You look at animals, they're eating because they need to fuel themselves to do whatever it is they're doing, and you are no exclusion. You are just another animal, right? So um the saatvic diet is going to actually help you to come into higher levels of life, so that you can tune into a deeper and deeper truth. Because with the heightened level of life energy, the more open you can be to connecting yourself, or to the connection with source itself. And with the connection to source energy, you can derive deeper and deeper truths. With the saatvic diet, you can actually come into esoteric dimensions of being as well, right? Or the esoteric side of life, rather than more of an exoteric, right? Which is what America is all about. America is more exoteric. The East is more esoteric, right? This is true. The whole focal of Western society, modern day, is exoteric. This is outward living, or I believe it's left to right, right, or right to left, either one, which is a whole circuitry of generation, of energy, which the polarities and the momentum of it, and the way that it moments itself, depends on the experience, right? So esoteric comes with the sattvic diet. You can come into deeper esoteric realities with the sattvic diet. So you would want to exclude meat. You would want to exclude anything that you know is bringing you into a lower level of life energy, so that you can come into deeper dimensions of being, right? This is why a lot of the East is vegetarian, you know, in their whole way of life, right? Not that they don't eat meat. A lot of Easterners do, but a lot of the East consumes purely vegetable, right? So this is what brings you into a higher level of life. This is what allows you to be more sensitive, because obviously if you're eating something that was slaughtered, the karmic information is carried on to the sub or unconscious, and you have to emotionally dwell within a turmoil due to that carrying out of energy or information. So in order to dwindle away at that karmic body, or if you want to reduce the amount of that information within yourself, within this vessel, then you want to avoid you want to avoid meat and all the other things which involve cruelty to animal, right? Because a lot of this goes on in Western civilization as well, animal cruelty, which you definitely share the intelligence of these animals. One thing that they don't tell you in school is that you share the intelligence of animals, you share the memory, and you are one with their emotional field, meaning that you share the emotions of all animals and beings. So when they are being cruel to animals just to harvest their products, that doesn't just disappear. It carries on to the people who are partaking in that, and the people who are partaking in that whole cruelty, willingly or willingly, have to deal with that emotional turmoil on a level which is unrealized, right? So let me see. If you reduce the amount of that whole thing within your life and your consumption, then you can reduce that turmoil, that emotional turmoil, on the level which is either realized or unrealized in that individual. If it goes realized, then chances are it's going to be reduced anyway, right? Because that's the power of realization. That's what realization is. Liberation. It's synonymous with liberation. But if it's unrealized, you can be dealing with turmoil, emotional turmoil on a level which is at that point unconscious or subconscious, right? And you can actually clean up the pain bodies, because dude, with this method, or with the technique of just reducing or taking out whatever it is that is bringing you into that emotional turmoil, right? But schools aren't going to teach you that, because they support that whole industry of animal cruelty and unconsciousness. See, the institutional systems want people unconscious, and the institutional systems want or support uh, the underdevelopment of animal cruelty, or yeah, because animal cruelty comes from underdevelopment, and that's all there is to it. If you're developed and you're at a certain stage of evolution or even revolution within yourself, animal cruelty never needs to happen. That's simple, right? So if you take up a saatvic diet, or if you just go reduce the things in your diet that is bringing you into emotional turmoil, then you can open yourself up vibrationally. And with the opening up vibrationally, this whole process is synonymous with liberation, enlightenment, realization, universal alignment, cosmic consciousness. That's what saatvic is. It's illumination, it's truth. You can keep a deeper centeredness with the saatvic diet, right? If you keep the body saatvic, then deep states of compassion are going to be received as you begin to open up vibrationally, because the deep states of compassion that are blossoming within you is the outer ripplings of realizing that core of bliss, which that's all there is bliss, a core of bliss. Misery, suffering, all of these things, they don't exist. These are all illusory in their nature. All there is bliss, and due to the fact that nature itself is illusory, that's why the core of being is absolute blissfulness, which is also synonymous with truthfulness, because oneness is truth, universal oneness is truth, holistic living is truth, and this is also saatvic. This is also not only saatvic, this is bliss, because when everything is one, there's no conflict. There can't be any conflict, because there's no separation. Separation is an illusion, and the moment you start to illuminate the darkness that is casting the illusion of separation, the moment that you are coming into self-realization, which the whole process of self-realization can be accelerated through the saatvic diet, which is why you want to, if you want to take up a saatvic diet, you take up the saatvic diet, so that it is going to accelerate the process of self-realization within you, right? It's pretty much a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet. See, the whole thing is that people are perverting themselves into partaking of the whole emotional turmoil, because this is what the whole corrupting factors of society is teaching you to benefit from, but it's non-beneficial. It's not benefiting you at all, right? So this is what school systems are teaching you, right? If you remember the food pyramid or whatever it is that you were taught about in school, health class, very briefly, this is all wrong. See, the food pyramid is how to have an imbalanced diet. They teach you that you need to eat 3 or more times a day. The FDA says this, but the FDA is full of bull, or is just full of shit. The FDA is telling people that they need to eat 3 or more times a day, when in reality, that's how you clog up your system, right? You don't need to eat 3 times a day. In fact, you can live fine off of 2 meals a day. So they're most definitely teaching people how to overconsume, because consumerism is the way of life, because this is how to corrupt the land. And the whole thing is that they want to corrupt the land because society is parasitic in their nature. In a sense, they are parasitic, right? So they are corrupting the land, the flesh of the earth, they're corrupting. And they teach people wrong in school, because the whole teaching of the institutional systems is a teaching that supports imbalanced and inharmonious living, or disresonant living, right? So let me see. When you consume various different animal products, you are harnessing the information of that animal's experience. So let's say there's a chicken farm, or let's say there's a cow farm, and these cows are getting beaten, or they're getting abused, or they're getting stored into very, very small little cages and then milked away, or chickens are getting treated very badly, right? Purely for the harvest, and that's all they're living for, the animals. So then whenever you go to the grocery store and eat that product that was harvested from that farm, which is being very cruel or abusive to those animals, that information is still within the product, because that product is the animal. The product and the animal are no different, because there's no separation. The eggs came from the chicken. The eggs grew in the chicken. So you're eating that chicken that was abused. So whenever you go and eat those eggs, that information is still that abusive within the pain body. It's abuse that is carried on to you, and it's stored within a sub or unconscious level within your pain body. And you express this outwards, and it reflects itself within the genetic level as well. So then you take up that same form. That's information. That's what information is. Information is coding. Whenever you take up coding, which is supporting cruelty or abuse, you slowly take on that same form, and then you start abusing yourself, or you start being very cruel to other people around you, or you start abusing other people around you subconsciously or unconsciously, and you can't even accept it half the time. So a lot of people are doing this, and whenever you gather all of that information, it creates entities which thrive on that very abuse or cruelty, and a lot of people, all the mass is on that. All the mass population is on that information, because they're taught that they can't go without any of that stuff. But it's bad for you anyway. You don't actually need it. You don't need burgers. You don't need eggs. You don't need any of that. You don't need dairy either. You don't need any of that stuff. You were taught that you need it, but you don't need it. So the moment that you the moment that you reduce that and you can take up a saatvic diet, saatvic means illumination, sattva, right? That's exactly what a sattva diet or sattvic diet is going to do for you. It's going to illuminate you, which is enlightenment. It's going to enlighten you. It's more holistic in its nature, meaning holism is seeing yourself as a part, but as a part you reflect the whole within you. And that's very important to have in your conscious mind throughout your life, that you are a part of God. But since you are a part of God, or a fragment of God, you are God. God fragmented himself into an infinitesimal number of pieces, but those pieces are also wholes in themselves. So the sattvic diet is a holistic diet, and because it's holistic, it allows you to come into the knowledge of God. Connectedness, interconnectedness, interdependentness upon all other creatures. And it allows you to come into the realized state, the enlightened state, the liberated state. Why is it liberation? Because you're reducing the amount of emotional turmoil, which actually invites in deeper and deeper levels of attachment to everything, to the Maya, to the illusory world, right? because you are an animal. You have an animal mind to you. There's an animal mind to you. We are animals, and whenever you treat your animal mind, or whenever you treat your animal side abusively or with cruelty, you're only teaching yourself to nourish on the attachment of that whole undertaking. So whenever you reduce all that, you liberate yourself from it. You slowly start to understand that you don't actually need to overconsume anything, whether it be food, water, or just pure stimuli or information. And that's when you start becoming more meditative. The moment that you realize that you don't need overstimulation of information, that's when you start turning inwards within oneself. And this is when you come into the deepest states of truth. This is when life completely takes on a magical change. Everything changes the moment that you turn inwards. And that's what liberation is. That's what enlightenment is. That's what Jesus is on. That's what Buddha is on. That's what Shiva is on. That's what Krishna is on. That's what Muhammad is on. That's what all of these people are on. The holistic beings, the enlightened beings are all on this. You can do it with meat. You can do it with all that too. But if you want a way to accelerate this beyond, then you take up a saatvic diet. You can go vegan. Unless you're perverting yourself into the attachment and the addiction of something that was never needed in the first place, then you're just being a coward, right? And that's all that is. You're perverting yourself into the addiction to the cruelty and the abuse of oneself, because there is no other. There's only oneself. So the moment that you go and abuse an animal or anybody, or you're being cruel to anybody, you're just perverting yourself into an addictive state of attachment and self-cruelty. When you go and torture on another person, you're only torturing yourself. But you keep yourself from being able to emotionally feel that out because you're not ready to come into the higher levels of life yet. Higher levels of sensitivity, where you can feel another person quantumly from across the world, right? That's the power of the heart, which is truth. Truth is found in the heart. Illumination as well. Illumination and truth can both be found in the heart and mind. So the benefits of going vegetarian or vegan, or taking up a saatvic diet, Aital, any of these, is a complete evolutionary turn. See, humanity collectively is at the stage where we don't need to be cruel to animals. We don't need to harvest animal products at the amount that we are doing that. It's a very unhealthy amount that we're doing this to the animal bodies. And we are at the evolutionary stage where we don't need to no longer be taking from the animals in such a barbaric way. But once again, it's a revolution that happens within you, within oneself. You don't need to look towards the crowd or the mass body, because the mass body is caught in that whole illusion. You just need to change it within yourself. Take this message and utilize it. The message is going to live on forever. Next life you're hearing the exact same thing. If you don't listen to that message in the next life you're here, you're going to hear the exact same thing from the exact same person, which is me. I'm going to stay attempting to liberate you. It's that you need to let it happen within yourself. If you're ready, it could take lifetimes. This is what the Buddhas say. The awakened ones say this. It's going to take you lifetimes. It can happen in one. It can happen in a moment, which it is going to happen in a moment. Let it happen. Don't resist it. This is where it is going for the entirety of humanity, because that's what evolution is. Revolution. The amount that we're being cruel to animals, the amount that we're abusing the animal body is unhealthy for the species at its current level of development. So the attention needs to be turned inward. We need to generate more consciousness within ourselves as individuals, turn it into a collectivism, and then it takes the turn for itself globally. And then planetary consciousness, which we then help the other animal species to evolve to the same level that we're at, which sounds amazing. It sounds amazing to have to coexist with other species, right, that are also humanoid. You know, if like the cow was to go bipedal, and then it was able to start speaking our language, or had its own language, had its own civilization, its own communities, networkings, right, and then we coexist together. But not just the cow. This can happen all throughout the speciality, the multi-speciality. But it can only happen if we let this happen. It's gonna happen either way, because this is what happens. This is that whole process of evolution accelerates itself throughout the cyclings of the cosmos. But right now, just turn inward, right, and change something within yourself so that you're able to liberate yourself, come into the illuminated state or the self-realized state. And then you can connect yourself with the masters as well. The masters are already ascended. They are already realized. They have transcended death. This is why their wisdom is timeless, because they're speaking timelessly. They never died. They're speaking their wisdom beyond the time-space continuity. This is why the wisdom of the ancients allows you to navigate the higher dimensions, because they're timeless. They don't exist within the space-time continuum. They traverse the space-time continuum. You know, fourth dimensional beings are said to be able to traverse time, meaning they're beyond time. They can manifest themselves within any space-time continuum. And you can actually do that. Where do you think we got this information from? From people who are able to do this. The whole thing is that attachment to a certain level of density, which would be the third density, or the third dimension. So the moment that you give up a lot of things, reduce a lot of things within your life, and you start to notice the overconsumption of stimuli informationally, and you reduce that, which is synonymous with the process of becoming more meditative, then you are also coming into the self-realized state. You're turning inwards, and you're able to come into higher levels of life. And everybody wants higher levels of life. You know, if you look at your phone, you can only use your phone if it has life, if it has battery to it, if it has energy to it. If it runs dead, then you go and charge it. The phone is useless when it's dead. If you don't have energy to your body, if it's not charged with life, the body's useless. I mean, so you think, but you know what I mean? You want life to you. You want to you want to be overflowing with life. And that's why you want to reduce anything that is bringing your life energy down. See, when you consume meats, when you consume dairy products, when you consume eggs, not only these, you know exactly what it is that you are not benefiting off of, because it's intuitive at this point, because it's a collective shift that we're all accorded with, tethered with, because it's coming straight from the source, which is literally it's a cosmological process that is taking place. that we can all ride the waves of, until we're all liberated, or awakened, enlightened, realized. Collective realization leads to universal realization. This is universal realization. So find the change within yourself. It's very simple. There's no will either in it. It's more just something that happens of itself. Will is a struggle, and struggling is egoic. So you don't need to worry about changing anything to fit in. You don't need to worry about anything. Actually, worry does not need to be within you, because worry is something that is only tarnishing your spirit. There's never a need to worry, because everything is absolutely hyper harmonious and beautiful. So then you don't necessarily need to will yourself into making the change to come into higher levels of life, or liberation, or even self-realization or enlightenment. You just need to enjoy what is taking place. Be aware. Just be conscious. That's all that's really needed. And the shift happens of itself, right? So that's going to be it for today's video. I do thank everybody for watching. Once again, peace out. One love and have a great evening. Afternoon.